Ready? All right, I'm finna start my pre-trip inspection. I'm gonna start with my ID and clearance lights. Make sure they're not cracked, broken, damaged, no missing bulbs, nuts and bolts are tied properly secure, and the proper color is amber. From there, I'm gonna start my mirror and my mirror brackets, both sides, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly secure. Make sure my mirror is adjusted to my rear view, no illegal stickers, and the seal around it is not cut or torn to prevent vibrations. I'm gonna go with my headlights, my high beams, low beams, should be proper color and clear, no missing bulbs, working properly. My signal lights and four-way flashers should be amber in color, no missing bulbs, and working properly. I go with my license plates, should be up to date, not cracked, broken, damaged, should be held on by at least 2 screws. Go with underneath my vehicle for any leaks, no coolant, no power steer, no motor oil, and no power and no coolant. All right. This shit up, passenger side. I'm gonna stand to the side so y'all can see it. This is my fan clutch, belt driven, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds. All nuts and bolts are tied properly secure. I'll check my belts. Make sure they have no more than 3/4 inches of play, not too tight or destroy the bearings, not too loose or they'll fall off. Make sure they're not cut or torn. From here is my water pump. You find this hose, water pump, belt driven, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly secure. Check all my hoses for any abrasions or bubbles or cuts. Right here I have my turbo, I have my exhaust pipe, and I have my muffler. Not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure I have no holes to prevent soot and poisonous fumes from entering the cab through my muffler. Y'all see this? All right, next side. All right, this side, start off with my valve cover. Make sure it's not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Check my gasket seals. Make sure it ain't cut or torn to prevent any leaks. I check my oil dipstick, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure my cap opens and closes properly. The seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Check my levels, make sure it's above the add line. If not, I will add. I'll check my coolant reservoir. Make sure it's not cracked, broken, damaged, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Check my caps, make sure they open and close properly. The seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Check the levels through the sight glass, should be above the add line. If not, I will add. From here, I'll check my alternator and my AC compressor. Both belt driven, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. My alternator, I'll check my cables, make sure they're not loose freight to prevent short circuits or corrosions. My AC compressor, I'll check my hoses, make sure there's no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. From there, I'll check my power steering reservoir. Not cracked, broken, damaged, all nuts and bolts are tied properly secure. Check my caps that they open and close properly. The seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Check the levels through the sight glass, make sure it's above the add line. If not, I will add. Check my hoses for any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. From here, I'll check my air compressor. Air compressor at the top, power steering pump at the bottom. Both gear driven, not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I'll check the hoses on both, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, clamps are tight and secure. From here, I'll check my chassis all the way down. Make sure it's not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure, and no illegal holes. I go to my steering column and my U-joints. Steering column, U-joints, both. Not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Steering column has no more than 2 inches of play. U-joints are properly lubricated. From here, I'll check my gearbox, my pitman arm, and my castle nut, and my cotter pin is in place. Not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I'll check the seal around my gearbox, make sure it ain't cut or torn to prevent any leaks. I check my ball joints, I have 2. One right here, one right here. Both. Not cracked, broken, damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure, and the seal around is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Check my 3 points. Drag link, steering arm, steering knuckle. Again, drag link, steering arm, steering knuckle. All three. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Check my suspension. Spring mount. Every time you have a spring mount, you have a leaf spring. It's called spring leaf, but I call it leaf spring. You have a saddle, and you have U-bolts holding it down. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. My leaf spring should not be shifted, damaged, or bent, and have no more than 25% of damage in this case. Here, I'll check my axle, my tie rod, and my shock. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I'll check the seal around my shock. It's not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. From here, I'll check my air line to my brake chamber. No abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. I'll check my brake chamber, my push rod, and my slack adjuster. Brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, all three. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Since this is a single brake chamber, my push rod is adjusted to 1 inch. My slack adjuster, when pulled by hand at a 90-degree angle. My push rod will not travel more than 1 inch with the brakes released. If I need them adjusted, I have a mechanic do so. If I adjust it myself, I will turn it 1/4 of a turn by the adjuster nut. All right? From here, I have my brake drums and brake pads. I can't see in there, but my brake drums, it's not cracked, broke, or damaged, both. It's not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Between my brake drums, I should see no blurring, which indicates overheating. My brake pads can be at 25% at its thinnest point. All right, no separation between the brake and the shoes. From here, I'll check my sidewalls and my tires. No abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Make sure my thread is evenly worn. This tire should be new or first run tire. Tire depth should be at 432 seconds in depth, which this is not. Tire inflation should be at 100 PSI, manufactured or specifications. From here, I'll check my rim. Make sure it's not bent, cracked, or damaged. No illegal welds. Proper size rim for the tire. Lug nuts is present, tight and secure. No sign of rust, which indicate a loose lug nut. I have a mainly lubricating hub, not cracked, broke, or damaged. No illegal welds. Nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I will check the levels. Make sure it's above the add line. If not, I will add. Check the seal. Make sure it ain't cut or torn to prevent any leaks. All right. From here, I'm gonna check my door. Make sure my door is not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure it opens and closes properly, and the seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. My access bar, do not forget this is 2 points. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. We're gonna check the weather stripping, make sure it's not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Check my hinges, both ends, make sure they're not bent, cracked, or damaged, and no sign of rust. Even though you did these mirrors on the end cap, you still got to do it on the pre-trip. I check my mirror and my mirror brackets, both not cracked, broke, or damaged. No illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. My mirror is adjusted to my rear view. No illegal stickers, and the seal around it is not cut or torn to prevent vibrations. From here, I'm gonna start my fuel tank. Not cracked, broke, or damaged. No illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure my cap opens and closes properly. The seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. I'll check my cables, make sure they're not loose freight to prevent short circuits or corrosions. Check my fuel line for any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Check my fuel tank brackets, not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Check underneath my fuel tank for any fuel leaks. All right, moving down, I will check my steps, my battery box, and my catwalk. I named all three because they had the same material. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure I have no grease, no oil, no debris to prevent accidents. My battery box should have three batteries in here, fully charged, working properly. From here, I'm gonna go on my utility lamp. This is the light of my catwalk to connect my hoses. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure, no missing bulbs, and the proper color is clear. I go on my spring and my spring bracket, both not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure my hoses is properly connected to my spring. My connection from my tractor to my hoses is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. I have red is for emergency, blue is service line, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. My black line is my electricity line, not loose freight to prevent short circuits or corrosions. From here, I'm gonna start with my glad hands. Make sure they're not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. and the seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. This is my dry shaft. The end, my U-joints. You can see them over here too. All right, my U-joints. And this piece right here is my differential. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds. All nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure my U-joints is properly lubricated and the seal around my differential is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Stay up there. Start with my sheet metal. Just say trailer, don't say sheet metal. Start with my whole trailer. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds. Nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. No illegal holes. Check my side trailer. Make sure the same. DOT reflectors are in place. Proper color, red and white. Check my ID and clearance lights. Should be amber in the front, red in the back. No missing bulbs. Working properly. Right? I'll wait till you get there. All right, I'm gonna start with my second axle. Since I did my first axle, if you get B section, you cannot say I would check my second axle the way I check my first. If you only get B section and you have to start your second axle, you're gonna start with this. My second axle consists of spring mount, torque, spring leaf, and the end of the spring leaf, I have a saddle and I have U-bolts in the inside, same as the front. Every time you have a spring mount, you have a leaf spring. Every time you have a leaf spring, you have saddle and you have U-bolts. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. My leaf spring should not be shifted, bent, and have no more than 25% of damage in this case. From there, I have my shocks. You can come on each side. Same as the front, I have my shocks. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. The seal around the inside is not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. My airbag has no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. All right, so I gotta come back on this side real quick. I have a dual brake chamber. All right, which means my push rod is adjusted to 2 inches. My slack adjuster, when pulled by hand at a 90-degree angle, my push rod when I travel more than 2 inches with the brakes released. If I need them adjusted, I have a mechanic do so. Make sure they're not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. That's it for the second axle. That's only if you didn't do the first. If they want the differences between the first and the second axle, it's just a torque, an airbag, and a dual brake chamber. All right, that's the differences. Fifth wheel, most important piece of the truck. This is my apron. This is my fifth wheel. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Make sure I see no light between my apron and my fifth wheel. If I see light, that means I'll have steering problems. If I have steering problems, I will add grease. From there, my kingpin connected to my apron, locking jaws inside of my fifth wheel, both not bent, cracked, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I make sure that my locking jaws locks around my kingpin, around my shank with the head down. I'm gonna say it again. I make sure that my locking jaws locks around my kingpin, around my shank with the head down. When that happens, my release arm is in, which lets me know my safety latch is in place and my locking jaws are closed. From there, I'll check my pivot pin and my platform. Not cracked, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. My airline has no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. All right? Now, since I did my third axle, my second axle, this is how I'm gonna do my third axle. I would check my third axle exactly the same way. Fucked up, don't tell nobody else. I did, I just remembered.
Scratch that.
All right, I have to finish my second axle. I already did the parts on the inside, but I didn't do my tires, all right? I make sure that this tires should be evenly worn. This tire can be used or rethreaded. Make sure I have a 4-inch gap in between both tires. This tire depth should be at 232 seconds in depth. Tire pressures can be at 100 PSI, manufacturer specifications. Sidewalls, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Make sure it's the proper size rim for the tire. Lug nuts is present, tight and secure. No sign of rust, indicate a loose lug nut. I have a self-lubricating hub, not cracked, broke, or damaged. No illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. That's it. Right now, I can check my third axle exactly the same way that I check my second. Only thing different is I have a single brake chamber, which means push rod is adjusted to 1 inch. My slack adjuster, when pulled by hand at a 90-degree angle, my push rod when I travel more than 1 inch with the brakes released. If I need them adjusted, I have a mechanic do so. All right? Same as the tires. I don't have to do the tires no more because I just explained them. They're exactly the same. You still have a spring mount, torque, leaf spring, saddle, U-bolt, shock, airbag. All right? Tires, still 32 seconds in depth. Sidewalls, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. 4-inch gap between. Lug nuts. And you have a self-lubricating hub, just like the second. Everything exactly the same except the brake chamber. All right. Installing my mud flap, not crack, broke, or damage. All nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Should have DOT reflectors in place, proper color, red and white. No more than 8 inches above the ground. My tail lights back here, not crack, broke, or damage. Nuts and bolts are tied properly secure, no missing bulbs. I'll start with my reverse light. Should be clear in color, working properly. I go with my 4-way flashers. My signal lights and my brake lights should be red in color, no missing bulbs, and working properly. All right? All this shit is memory, because you see I'm not even looking at it. My landing gear. It's not crack, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds. Nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. This is my crank handle. This is my support arm. This is my leg. And this is my boot. Make sure my crank handle is properly mounted, my leg goes up and down, and my boot should have play to get grip on bad surface, but this one doesn't move, so he's stuck if he's on the hill. He can't move the shit. Can't take his trailer off. He got to be on flat surface. You want the one that moves. All right? I have a gearbox, consists of 2 gears, properly lubricated, working properly. Right? If you get C-section, you gotta know this shit good. This is my platform. These are my ribs. Now, crack, broke, or damage, no illegal welds. All nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I'll start with my frame, my stabilizer bar, my torque bar, and my adjuster bar. Now, crack, broke, or damage, no illegal welds. All nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. From here, I'm gonna start with my suspension. You can see it better here. I have a spring mount. Every time you have a spring mount, you have a leaf spring. Every time you have a leaf spring, you have a saddle. Every time you have a saddle, you have U-bolts. Now, crack, broke, or damage, no illegal welds. All nuts and bolts are tied properly secure. My leaf spring should not be shifted, bent, and have no more than 25% of damage in this case. I go with my brake chambers. This is a dual brake chamber. Now, crack, broke, or damage, no illegal welds. Nuts and bolts are tied properly secure. Check my air lines for any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Here, I have a push rod. Since this is the dual brake chamber, my push rod is adjusted to 2 inches. My slack adjuster, when pulled by hand at a 90-degree angle, my push rod when I travel more than 2 inches with the brakes released. If I need them adjusted, I have a mechanic do so. That's it from under here. All right, start with my last axle. All right, this is my 4th axle. Same as the 2nd and 3rd. Make sure I have a 4-inch gap in between both tires, no object sticking. Make sure my tires, they can be used or rethreaded. These tire depths should be at 232 seconds in depth, 100 PSIs, manufactured up specifications. Sidewalls, no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. My rim is not bent, cracked, or damaged, no illegal welds. I'll check my lug nuts, make sure they tight, present, and secure, no sign of rust. This rim does not have spacers. All right? I'll check my hub, which is a manually lubricating hub, not crack, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds, nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Check my levels, make sure it's above the add line. If not, I will add. Check my seal, not cut or torn to prevent any leaks. Every time you see a hub sticking out, it's manual. Every time you see it flat, like the 2nd and 3rd, it's self. So on this truck, you got manual, self, manual. All right, that's it for the tires. All right, from here, I'm gonna check my mud flap, my last one, not crack, broke, or damage, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure, no more than 8 inches above the ground. All right, I'm gonna start with my door. Since it's wood, it's no illegal welds. It's not no illegal welds. It's not crack, broke, or damage, all nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. I check my hinges, make sure they're not bent, shifted. Make sure my door goes up and down properly. My latch, it's not crack, broke, or damaged, no illegal welds. Nuts and bolts are tied properly and secure. Check my strap, make sure it ain't cut or torn to prevent any grip, but in this case, I can still grip my door. DOT bumper, not bent, cracked, or damaged, no illegal welds. DOT reflectors are in place, proper color, red and white. Check my last license plates, not cracked, broke, or damaged. I don't have to check the date because I checked it in the front. Make sure it's held on by at least 2 screws. My license plate light should not be missing any bulbs, properly secure, and proper color is clear. I'll check my brake lights, make sure they're red in color, no missing bulb and working properly. I check my signal lights, 4-way flashers, it's red in color, no missing bulbs and working properly. With that, I would check my passenger side the same way I check my driver's side. Only thing different is my crank handle lands on this side and my exhaust and my muffler pipe hangs on this side, and that completes my pre-trip inspection.